And you had to cloak yourself in flesh in order to thrive on this planet. But you are not a flesh being. But you acquired all of the genetic material and the Akashic attached to the contractual obligation of you taking on the hybrid hominid you refer to as a Homo sapien superior. Right? That's the form that you contractually obligated yourself to incarnate into. No one asked you to come here. You wanted to come here. You insisted on being here. And you came from a whole nother dimension. He said, say that again. Right? I said, no one asked you to come here. You only here because you wanted to be here. You seen what was going on here and you wanted to partake in what was here. You was already connected to everything. But you grew mundane, it grew mundane and boring to you. You wanted a challenge. So by the time you wanted to incarnate here, you had to make a lot of contractual obligations to get here. And you said, man, I want to make a difference there. I could do something. Let me get inside the body and show them what you should do while you in the body. That's how we first start incarnating. And that takes you back into the water. But see, first we was incarnating into the water. Yeah, contractual obligations. It started in the water. You got these people, hey, Egypt was really in America. Just using the word Egypt in America. I know you don't know what you talk about. You shouldn't even be leading that way. Stop validating their terminologies and the labels that they gave you and give them their shit back. Because we predate them. They are moon-based. We are sun-based. Right? They want to go on the moon calendar. We're going to go on the sun calendar. Because the sun is what gives us life. If it's doing what it's doing for my plants and my grass, imagine what it's doing for me when I'm getting out there and inhaling that sunlight. Imagine how it is causing me to mutate and form and grow if it's doing that to the plants. I'd be charged up. Some days I forget what day it is. I be out of tune with that shit because I'm interfacing with higher forms of life called the sun. And they don't want you to make that connection. I connect to the planet itself. And it sent me a barrage of SIMs to let it know that it heard me. SIMs is an acronym, signs, indicators, and messages. But you the soul that incarnated, and now you tethered to the Akashic of everything in that genetic line, starting with the serpents, starting with the fish, starting with the frogs. That's why your lips, these races, six ether ghost mutants, be trying to say we be chimping out. They be calling us monkeys, but monkeys got thin lips like the person is attempting to be racist. Look how backwards they think and be, and their mentality is. But they be trying to go in on our big lips, which are beautiful. But our lips come from the sea, from the fish. I don't want you guys to get caught up in the reptilian aspects of your nature, because we are reptilian too. That's an ancient ancestor. You hear me? That's an ancient ancestor. And some of them champion your success, and half of them They didn't want you to be a hybrid form. I'm talking about the shell itself, because you're not the shell. You this is just this is the Akashic you tethered yourself to when you incarnated, right? But you had to honor it. And when you honor it, everything the correct way, uh, then nature starts to work for you, starts to work with you. You become a child of nature, which is the Netaru, right? And that's the cosmic consciousness that pervades the universe in existence and brings supreme balancement, which we call Maya, right? He's saying, why does 15% of the population do 90% of the crime? I don't know. You're gonna have to ask the being that came up with that. That came up with that answer. That's right. Become a child of nature. Because when you were in your mother, when you were gestated in your mother, and she got that, and a lot of you sisters that went through that, you get that nasal drip. You know, your sinuses is all bad when you get pregnant. That's because you inhaling all of the elements in existence. You all of the 99 elements, right? You got the 99 elements, and then you got the 99 netaru, and you got the 99 attributes as well, right? And we made up of these elements. Whether you can accept it or not, it's 99 elements that you made out of, or physically. Some of them are in fibers. Some of them are in very small micron doses, right? In your body. Some of them are reserved in your bones, but you have every element on the planet in your body, and it's attracted to you. It's you was making this stuff animate. Why you think the sperm cell, which is 7.5 million times smaller than its macro form, right? When you put that up under a electron microscope and you see the sperm cell and the tail is going nuts, it's because it got a micron molecular piece or particle of you, the higher self. You know, segueing back to the original person question about the higher self and how do they connect to it. You was already it, but all of that couldn't fit inside that little sperm cell. Only a micron of that is needed for you to come into this macro form. And still, this macro form can't even hold that little micron. We call that the nukta, the black dot, the black sun, which this whole universe came out of. This whole universe was about the size of a straight pinhead, a pinhead. It was all condensed into that. That's beyond our comprehension and processing abilities from within the confines of this dimension. You couldn't even process all of that. You would stroke out. There's nowhere for it to go in your consciousness. So those portals have to be open. And in order for the soul, which you are, to be effectively educated in this end of the spectrum within the third dimension, it requires an incalculable amount of lifetimes, because you're an eternal being that's vibrating on an eternal frequency. And you're doing that in a temporary locality, right? Exactly, it is. It's all relevant. And it's so expanded. And see, the physical universe isn't as expanded as the spiritual universe. The spiritual universe is way more expanded. It's so expanded that it makes your material universe appear like a germ. Thank you, absolutely divine. I appreciate that love with the gift. Asheo, Oladumare. All right. He said what was missed. So we were just talking about how the builders of the pyramids, for lack of a better word, right? How the children of Amin Ra built the pyramids and how they're aliens. And how I was just aligning myself with the truth of to show ancient aliens. The guy on there, he talked about the pyramids was built by aliens. He was exactly right. The part that they leave out is that they look like Wesley Snipes. They look like Kodak Black. You hear me? They don't want you to know that. To explain the three sons, you're going to have to be a little bit more definitive. Yeah, melanated people. Black is a misnomer term. Has no standing in law to use the word black. Yeah, I could talk about the three sons. Said, well, absence of color. Said the difference between the three rays. Yeah, the three rays. You know, those are the 3 points of light. You got Atun, right, which is dawn. And you got Atun, ray, which is afternoon. And then you have Amun, which appears at dusk, right? Those are the 3 points of light. Those are the 3 directions that our sun passes through over the course of a day, right? But when it reaches zenith, when it reaches its largest point, everything is awakened on the planet. Everything is functioning when it reaches its highest point. And you, the soul, right? You follow this same process when you go to sleep at night. When Ray goes into the duat, so do you. And all of your consciousness gathers in the stomach. And when you wake up in the morning, it comes halfway, or excuse me, it goes all the way up to here. By the afternoon, it comes and it rests right here. You follow? And that's Atum, Atun, and Amun. Amun appears twice in the 99 Neteru. That's the resurrection. This is where they got your resurrection story from. And they took this out the temple of Anu, which they called Heliopolis. And Anu had 3 chief deities. One was named Asaru or Asar, or Set, and Haru. Those were the 3 chief deities. Right? And you had 3 lands. You had 3 cities that had occult center temples. Anu, Nu Amun, and Tatu. They don't want you to know that. They so pompous. They got the nerve to be making deities with pink skin on them. That's racist to me. That's race. That shit turn me off when I see white people, not white people, misnomer, but they're not white. That's a status. It's not a cut. It's not a pigmentation. But it's like, damn, man, y'all get mad when if we make a black Superman, they gonna lose their fucking mind. It's Superman turned black. but you would turn Offset white and then call her ISIS. That's not her name. Her name is Offset, right? Osiris and Horus, from where they get horoscope. They stole all that out the temple of Het Heru, right? And the temple of Het Heru is found in New Amun. They don't want y'all to know about this. And the reason why they don't want you to know is because they want you to live in their image and after their likeness. And with their mentality, that keeps you in a lower frequency. And all they could think to do is condition you to want to just keep wanting more shit. You don't even be needing shit. Half the shit you think you need, you don't even need that shit. Half of it. You could be putting that energy into yourself, grounded and meditating. And they should have just withered the fuck away. But they don't belong over here. I mean, I'm just keeping it 10K, man. No one RSVPs you to come over here. The Portuguese came over here before you. The French, they came over here before you. And the Spaniards, they came over here before you. And all of their ass took their ass home. Except for your ass. You came and squatted. And refused to leave. And then started to say that you from here. That's some bullshit. They did the same thing in what they call in Egypt. It's the same shit. They did it over there. So we like, God damn, we gonna get the fuck out of here and come over here. So we came over here. It took them a long ass time, but then they followed their us over here. Like, God damn, you can't get away from these motherfuckers. And then they'll call me a cold fish for pointing it out. But you'll lick your dog in the mouth and spit at me and call me nigger. You hear me? Tell me I'm lying. But they knew that this day would come. It's 12/12, excuse me. Abdul Kutapulat. Where Bazoon be about Moel Kulu. Who partner to that? Minu Nut Sheu Kawun Elabihu. Atun Ray. Noon, Nunet. He had. Ket Ki Ket Amun Amunet. Atum Shu Tepna Geb Nut or Set or Soru. Neptet Satuk Halu Happy Anquidanti. Nefertum Mantu Bepti. Sekmet Het Har Best Patah Bass Am Hotep. Who me hurt Kepri Meskahenet Raet Kentamintu. Hika Neve Mayat Renetet Shah Sishat Mavdat Sobek Anubu. Kanum Kansu Tanin. Sia Hikat Amsu Sarathi. Atumre. Tahuti. Taret. Selket Ha. Nehebka Sokar Bait. Akir. Ani Hirit. Wabwawit. Siket Hitet. Maresgir. Sia Get It. Astinu Bahutit Kanimtet. Minket Him Madudi Kabasinu. Duamutef. Merit Ura Adu Nakabit. Siket Anuket and Jet. Tim Ua Uis Anku Afnuit Sati Sekti. Imta Nina Imuet Imseti. Kimamu. Ray Chef, Mary, and Amun Ray. For the sake of all. Kawu. Who am I now? I say. That's the 99 natural. That's all 99 of. You know, the Muslims adopted that and turned them into the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? But when y'all hear me call that out, I'm summoning the Neteru. I'm summoning them. I'm telling them, hey man, cover what I just said. Correct me where I may need be corrected. Set me straight where I need to be set straight. Right? Because I got your back. I got your front and your side, and I'm going to salute you every day. I started saying that they said it's supposed to be thunderstorm. The sun just came out and beamed real big outside, right? Said spit some knowledge, fam. All right, what you want to know, loved one? It's Q&A with Dr. Ray. You know, y'all should ask some questions of things you really want to know, things that have pervaded your discernment. Said it's Amun the highest. Amun is the hidden. Amun is the hidden. Yeah, so yeah, the Neteru. I just got through calling out the 99 Neteru, which I do that every day anyway. Say, how should we end prayer? If you know Ashatat, you should end your prayers. You should hermetically seal your prayers with the 99 Neteru, right? Or you could dedicate your prayers to the 99 Neteru. So you seal your prayer session, and then you go off into your gold book, and that's for those that follow in our community that follow Korshania, right? We go through Ashatat, you say your prayers, and then said the highest deity. The deity of deities, the Neteru of Neteru, right? That's Kulum. Kulum, nothing is greater than all, right? All appoints and anoints a being to sit in the position as the highest. And for our station within our universe is our sun. Even though our sun scales very minuscule within our local galaxy, just in our Orion Nebula, our sun appear like a speck of sand amongst Rigel and Arcturus and Antares and Betelgeuse. They way more expanded than our sun. And y'all seen the pictures. I put them up in the text space. I hope y'all been going through that thread, right? I'm just generating new neural pathways and axon terminals so that you will be able to process more information. Yeah, he said, I see it on the board in our community. We got a board in the 1089 tech community. On that board, it's a long thread. It's like a pin thread. And I show the seismic scale of the planet and the sun, which the sun is about 7.5 million times larger than our planet, right? You can barely see the damn Earth. But when you put your when you put your sun next to Rigel, which is a sun in Orion, it's very tiny. And this is segueing back to the brother that said something about the giants and the Dracos. I seen that. That's why those beings are so much larger than we are when they decide to visit your planet, is because the size of their sun, its scale is way more. Exactly. Exactly, Urklaw. So imagine, listen, Rigel, which is very small in comparison, but it's 15 million times larger than our sun. So imagine a being from Rigel coming here. They at least gonna be Wimby height. At least that. They're gonna have more, their head gonna be bigger. They're gonna have more intellect than you because they already know how to move from there to here. Y'all gotta put all these things into put that into the equation. And again, I keep telling y'all, they're not gonna come and talk to you. Because you don't have autonomy over this planet. You're not controlling shit. They're gonna go to the beings that's controlling shit and communicate with them. They get a lot accomplish a lot faster that way. Just going to take me to your leader. You ever heard that before? Like, yeah, just take me to the leader. And they'll see how the leader carry yourself, and it'll matriculate down from there. And that's what's been going on. Now, what they said to them, they didn't renege on everything that they told. They've been lying. And they know they was going to lie. But you still got to give people enough space and grace to redeem themselves before you reprimand them. They were given enough space and grace, and they wet the bed and shit the pamper. And now everybody get an upgrade. But I'm telling you, you got to open up the branches in your neurons. You're going to have to allow the amnesia to dispel itself. Start speaking in this things in its appropriate context. Stop sensationalizing. Start using your logic and your rationale, and start being a little bit more practical. Start being more grounded and in this reality. Stop wanting to be off in the stars and the quasars. There's enough on this planet to pay attention to, right? You wanted to come here. You was already up there in the stars and quasars. You was already connected. That wasn't good enough for you. You came here. Nobody asked you to come. But the planet needs custodians. Because that's what we used to incarnate and become, is custodians for the planet. We didn't poison the planet and poison the atmosphere. They're like, yo, what the fuck? Why y'all shitting on me? But the planet ain't dumb. We microns on the planet. You like a pebble of sand, a speckle of dust on a seismic scale. 7.5 million times smaller. Your planet is over 24,901 miles at maximum exhalation. When it exhales, it's over 24,000. Oh, let me just write it up there so people can see it. All right. 24,900 to 1,000 to 23,500 and 64,000 miles. Right? That's your Earth. Your Earth is that big. You not even 1 mile. You're not even a 16th of a mile. You're not even a 32nd of a mile. You're not even 1/64th of a mile long. You're real tiny. And then you got the litigated gall to say the Earth is flat. How would you even begin to know that? It outranks you on a seismic scale. It's like, it ain't even a comparison. Everything that's composed of you physically, it gave it to you. You're trapped in its magnetic field, in its gravitational field. You don't have your own. You got your own called your aura, but you trapped inside the planets. You follow that? So the planet deserves a little bit more acknowledgement and reverence than it's actually given. It deserves a lot more because it had provided everything that it could for you in abundance. It ain't give you a glass of water, it gave you an ocean. Right? You might not like to hear it. He's like, man, I'm hungry. I ain't got nothing to eat. I ain't got no money. And all them birds line up on your fence. You better go grab your pellet gun and go make you some Chick-fil-A. Right? That's what you need to do. But the planet gives you way more than what it provides. It provides. And it's doing everything in its power to accommodate you while you're here. And that deserves an ashe every day. and you do that, it's going to take notice of that, right? It has the ability to quantumly communicate through the plants. It has a neural connection to the plants. It's expanded. You don't think it got a full network? It's the planet that wants to go to the fifth dimension. It's not you. It's just that the beings, the Amorites, when they took over back at the end of the Akkadian Empire, and they started to come into some form of authority, they didn't progress. They devolved. They didn't learn how to read and write. That's why they wasn't allowed into the occult centers in the Happy Now Valley. They wasn't never allowed in because they didn't know how to read and write, let alone take a bath. I'm just keeping it 10K with you. They came from Mount Haran. Go look in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 16. Read all of Ezekiel 16. They was being born without no umbilical cords. They don't want you to know that. You become aware of that, then you start to look at them on a different spectrum. You start functioning on a different spectrum. All right, don't be coming in here with all of that. No scammers. You block. Get him out of here. You gotta watch him. I don't know if you're watching Double R. I just got rid of him. Y'all don't listen. If somebody pop up in here and be like, hey, I want to pay all your bills. Man, don't listen to that. They be sending all type of stuff in here while I'm talking to try to throw me off. I hope y'all ain't listening to those fuckers. Please don't listen, man. This is why I tell y'all, when y'all purchase something, I got a website, right? You leave your phone number, I'm going to call you. We're not playing them type of games. I don't play them type of games, right? Beings be out here scamming, man. Anybody got any other questions? Any other questions? But you, you like 1/4 the size, or excuse me, 1/64 of 1 mile in comparison to your planet that is composed of over 24,000 miles. Even your planet scales very tiny. So you got to respect the pecking order and acknowledge it coherently and comprehensively in order to garner some communication. And this is something that I walk people through, right? So we don't have to be all spooky and sensational. We don't do no reaching. You start reaching too much, somebody gonna tap you like, yo, man, you reaching. Don't reach. You ain't gotta reach. You ain't gotta be spooky. You don't have to sensationalize any longer. We don't operate on that frequency. That's not your natural frequency to believe and to hope and fantasize. No, we deal with a gnosis, right? Peace of love, beloved. We deal with a gnosis here. We don't want to go into Fantasy Island or Final Fantasy VII. We don't want to make believe. We don't want to operate with guesswork to come to our conclusions. We don't want to use ambiguous terms. You hear me? We want to be as practical as possible. So when something that's on a spiritual frequency does occur, we know we're not tripping. And also, we understand what's taking place, and we know we're not tripping. Because when it comes to who you are spiritually, you defy the laws of physics. This end of the visible spectrum is too limited to confine you. So they don't need you vibrating that high because they can't vibrate that high. They need you to vibrate as low as possible so they can control your ass. So they can tase your ass. So they can shoot your ass. So they can take your ass to jail. So they can walk by you and wave and say, hey, how you doing, neighbor? You hear me? Y'all tap that screen, man. Tap that screen. Tap the screen. If you let me get a 9 in the comments if y'all follow me. Y'all gotta show me some engagement and I keep going. Other than that, ask your questions. If you don't have a question, then I'll keep going, but y'all gotta show me some interaction. Right? They already said that they already sent the bot in here saying that it prove I'm not a bot. Right? But yeah, so that's the time that we coming into. The planet is putting itself back on its axis. It was at 23 degrees back in 1970. And since 1970 to now, it's going to a 45-degree angle, right? Until it get to 90 degrees. Once it's on a 90-degree angle, they're not going to be able to perceive time no more. That's going to be it. So we'll be out of that old timeline of the moon cycle. We then came out the moon cycle and we coming into the sun cycle. And I told y'all they're going to start pushing the clock back or forward 2 hours. But they're going to lose their conception of time. But the planet is growing. It's evolving. Just as you are to some degree within the shell, right? And they know it, man. They're not supposed to be no caretakers. They pretending to be caretakers to you while threatening you with death and not facilitating the dead. They don't even have an egregor that they connect to that's facilitating the dead. Think about that. He said that there's a set amount of time it will take for the universe to reach a 90-degree angle. No, the universe doesn't need to be on a 90-degree angle. That's your planet. Your planet used to be on a 93-degree angle. I mean, on a 90-degree angle. But some beings took it and tilted it over. And that's why you had a flooding, right? Which it didn't flood the whole planet. It just flooded a certain area, right? And those were the cities that were erected by Enki and Enlil. And the beings they had created, going back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 24. That's the best reference I could give you guys. And God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, right? Exactly, Noah's Ark. Noah was the only one that was obedient. All the rest of them wasn't obedient. So they gave him a chance. They said, man, gather up your homies, your family, and I need you to get the DNA of 2 of every animal, right? His name was Utnapishtim, according to the Akkadian text, right? Which is written in cuneiform form. That's the Akkadians. These was niggas. See, they got all their statues and stuff in the basement in the Vatican. They're not going to show you all this stuff. But that's what it said. And there was a man named Utnapishtim, and he was listening to the Elul. Elul, that means like beings in the sky. And they were telling him to gather up the DNA, and they would save him, his family, and friends, which they did. Utnapishtim translates into English as the giver of life. That's what they called him, the giver of life, because they flooded out that section. And they took the planet that was on a 90-degree axis and tilted that mug, and it made all the water whoosh to one side. That's why 77% of your planet, it got like a tilt on it. And everybody, 77% of the planet is right-handed and 23% of the planet is left-handed, right? How many people we got in the room that's left-handed right now? I guarantee you it's less than those that's right-handed. All my people that's right-handed put a 7, and all the people that's left-handed put a 9. Put a 9 if you left-handed, and put a 7 if you right-handed. See, look at all of those. Yeah. Got a couple of lefties in there. Yeah, man. That's not by coincidence. So that's what happened. I hope that answers your question in regards to that. Let's see what they be leaving out in that story, especially when people talk about the Anunnaki, is the people in the Happy Nile Valley. Those was the Anu people. Those was Anu's. That was Anu's creation. That wasn't Enki and Enlil. Yeah, the difference between the lefty and the righty is that the person that's left-handed, um, they have a more inclination to their intuitive faculties than somebody that's right-handed, right? But they used to doing everything on their left. It's the polar opposite of everybody else. So it kind of gives off that resonance. But most left-handers are strongly, because you got right-handers that can become ambidextrous. Left-handers can too. But if you left-handed, you all the way left-handed like that. It might be the planetary placement when you was born that caused that in some regards. I know I was in a bad car accident one time. I couldn't use my right hand for almost a year. 6 months definitely, right? Couldn't use it at all. And my girl got pregnant with my son during that time. And he was left-handed. You know what I'm saying? He was left-handed. And that stud could use both his hands. Like now, you know. But that's dealing with the physiology. And that's something I always implore for people too. They always say, "Hey man, what book should I start reading?" He said, "Who is Nikki met her spirit, and I'm not sure where she's going." I don't know what you're talking about. Who is Nikki? Where did the idea longitude and latitude coordinates come from? Well, the coordinates have always been there. It's something that's referred to as a grid. See here, talking about the grid. So a grid is like, you know what a grid look like. And let's just say this is your planet. See that? Now this is a two-dimensional grid line. Longitude deal with the uh how long it is, and latitude tells you the distance of how far it go out. Right? Longitude and latitude. That's 2 dimensions. Now, if we break this into 3 dimensions, this would turn into cubes, right? And then it turns more solid. But the actual terminology of longitude and latitude, you could kind of hear the latitude. You know, it's some form of Latin in there, and elongated. Everything go back to the Greek. So these are their terminologies for the English language, which I'm always talking about uh, the Proto-Indo-Euro linguistic tree. Everything is wrapped around that. But that's what those terminologies is for. And you could have Googled that. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just basically to cite the measurement. But where the numbers, the actual numbers is telling you that he said so it's basically grimoire. No, it's not grimoire. It's just that that's the English terminology, like for longitude, latitude, right? Said that the mound builder civilization of America predate Kemet. No, those beings came out of Uganda and Tanzania, what they're referring to as the Olmecs, right? And when you're talking about the mounds, just to demystify the mounds, when y'all seeing mounds like the mound of Nineveh, which had the city of Akkad up under it, where they found the cuneiform tablets. When you're seeing mounds, you're seeing buried cities. That's a buried city there under that mound. And in some regards, those people were conquered by another, adverse tribe or group of people that didn't agree with them. And they ended up covering their shit up, right? And that's what happened over here in the Western world in those regards. But to put everything in context, because based on the artifacts that they found, some guy named Mitchell Sterling in 1940, he discovered the Olmec heads and an El Manati ritual site in central Mexico. And what they carbon dated those statues to be was 1400 BCE, right? So that's 1400 years before Christ. The Hyksos didn't squat in Egypt until 1550 BCE. And they ended up taking over Akkad in 1750 BCE, just to give you some timeline there, right? So the beings in the Western Hemisphere, which did develop these particular mounds and pyramids, because it was pyramids there too, right? It's pyramids there too, in the place they call Teotihuacan, not New Mexico, in Mexico. Those pyramids was built by the Olmecs. All the pyramids, the recent pyramids, all of those was built by the Olmecs, who came out of Tanzania, Uganda, and the Congo, and they walked over here. And in order to prove my point, the Aztecs called these people the Olmecs, the rubber plant tree people, and the same rubber plant trees that grow in Tanzania, Uganda, and in the Congo, which is Uganda, they are all along that same exact ley line, right? Going back to the longitude, latitude line. Everything is on that same ley line, all the way going into Brazil. And they established pyramids there too. They try to cover them up and turn them into mounds and turn them into mountains. they did everything to try to cover that shit up, right? But that's what happened with those mounds. They used to be landing sites for the pyramids, because the Olmecs is even older than what they showing you how old they are. And they mixed in with the beings that came out of Andromeda, some Teros. And don't believe me, y'all can look this shit up. The anthropologists had already found the heads, right? It was just Mitchell Sterling who was the first English piece speaking person that actually went on an excavation. They put his money down for an excavation to unearth the Olmecs, because somebody tried to bury that shit. They didn't want people to see that it was niggas. And for all y'all motherfucking y'all, those people just claiming to be Spaniard, right? or Portuguese or Latin and say, "Oh man, that's not y'all. That's us." And it's like, nigga, y'all are us. And to prove that they were some dark skinned, woolly haired people, they don't never show you the back of those OMAC heads because they got cornrows. I ain't never seen a Mexican man wear cornrows before, right? And it's gonna take some of that ether inside of you to have some damn cornrows. But the complexion and the phenotype of the face started to change once they started mixing in with extraterrestrials. Back to the extraterrestrials again, incarnating into the planet and mixing in with them. Don't believe me? Go check those areas out. People that bought my book, The Paruti Paradigm, look at everything along that ley line where I show you the rubber trees is being bought here. It's also in my Supreme Grand Master Teacher, put it in the book to set the record straight as well. I just got a better, clearer picture of it, but it's the same. It's the same thing. Said I'm a reptilian line. We all got reptilian in us. That's, you're not coming in here saying nothing deep with that. But they started mixing in with the Teros. That's the cone head shaped beings. They stood, these particular classification of species, they stood between 7 and 9 feet tall. That's why niggas is so good with the basketball. They had a game that they used to play. They used to bet their life on the game. It was life and death playing that the form of basketball that they played. That's why they wore them helmets on their head. And they used to have these rubber balls, right? But their ears started getting longer. Their heads started getting longer. They started getting taller. And today, all up through Honduras, all up through Cuba, all up through Peru, all up through Belize, all up into Mexico, they done found elongated heads. Even in parts of Alabama and New Orleans, they finding heads this long as fuck. You hear me? All the way back down into the Nazca Strip, where they got the spider and all that shit. Those are star constellations where beings came from there. They came to this planet and mixed in with the people here. They don't want y'all to see that shit. It's like they feel like only a reserved class of them need to know that shit, and everybody else just need to be distracted and controlled. But they don't even have the cachet, if you will, to be having some type of ranking over you. You know what I'm saying? They're not supposed to have no ranking. But they've been working with witches and warlocks, the Theosophical Society, the Thule Society, right? Which established, the first church of Satan. They bought that over here, the White Brotherhood. Y'all don't know about these groups, but they really exist. They really exist, and they be doing their rituals and shit. The Bohemian Grove Society, all of that stuff, the catalyst for all of that was Madame Blavatsky, right? Helena Petrovov Blavatsky, right? Which is an inherent last name. She married a count of some fucking country or some bullshit. But she the one that bought astrology over here, tarot cards, Ouija boards, teaching people about the afterlife and lighting candles and Halloween. She came over here with the Ottoman Empire in the late 1800s. Said, is the Freemasonry a part of such control? Yeah, Freemason is the entry level into the Luciferian brotherhoods, right? That's like entry level. So like if you could be a Mason and you could show that you could keep a secret and all this bullshit, and somebody in there that's higher ranking than a Mason in another order will pull you in. You know what I mean? They'll be like, yeah, I know this masonry shit kind of cool, but hey, you You could keep a secret. Come here, let me show you what's in this door. Let me show you what these people doing over here. And then you become a part of that shit, right? Yeah, so all that stuff is in our genetics. They don't want you to know that. Do Dr. Ray belong to a lodge? Yes, I do. I don't belong to the Masonic Lodge. I don't belong to the Shriners Lodge, right? I don't. I belong to Ramesses Lodge. Ramesses Lodge number 9, right? Mirror number 19, Eatonton, Georgia, which they didn't tore that shit down now, but it's too late. What was set to be done on 404 Shady Dale Road got accomplished. People not aware of that. It got accomplished. The goal was to put up the Ben stone and put a gold capstone on top of it. It could have just went for 19 days because that's how long it took for that tachyon belt to activate around the planet. But it stayed up for 7 years. And that light frequency was enough to remove the amnesia clouds that was over people's consciousness. Said, does Ra still live in a reincarnation? Ra is the sun, or ray. That's the sun. We are just little particles of light out of ray, right? Called the sun. Latin word, soul, right? You a soul, right? You a little sun that's pretending to be this flesh for just a little while. And you attempting to learn all that you could possibly learn as long as you possibly can. You hear me? And you keep coming back here. You keep coming. You're not alone. We all done came back here thousands of times, hundreds of thousands, in some cases 1,000,000 times. And it came too many times. And don't even need to be here no more. Yes, so how do you not come back here? You have to be fulfilled. You have to be edified with your existence, right? And there are certain things that have to be brought to a person's attention that you're just not going to come out and know on your own. It has to be vetted out to you, right? And that's going into the esoteric fields of knowledge. And everyone gets an opportunity to put their life cycles on that trajectory, right? But you have to have a certain amount of incarnations under your belt just to reach that marker. Because as I aforementioned earlier, the soul is eternal. It's you in a temporary locality. In order for the soul to be fulfilled and educated on what goes on this lowly end of the spectrum, it has to incarnate again and again and again. You know, the average soul gets about 83,400,000, listen, in 65,000 years to incarnate in the body before by default it gets returned back to the spiritual universe, right? So some beings, just to put it in the hyperbole, to hyperbolize what I'm saying, a being can incarnate here 83 million years, almost 84 million years. Yeah, you grow addicted to this realm. It has to, in order to get up out of it, like, okay, I'm sick of it. Exactly. Exactly ready to win. If you got 83 million years, right? 83 million years to incarnate. 83,465,000. Let's say you get down to 83,464 195. You just needed to come back here for 5 years, right? You on your big wheel, some drunk come down the street, he hops a curb and runs you over, right? And you like, oh my God, your mama like, my baby done died. But that baby only needed them 5 years to leave here on default. They didn't have a lot of years left on their incarnations. So when these premature deaths happen sometime, that's a whole nother level of discernment. It takes some degree of solar standing, something we've been covering at these events I've been having. So couldn't we as souls just tap into another's life force per se and speed up the process? See, you're trying to anthropomorphize the functions of a soul for something that you're able to comprehend on a human level. See, a soul doesn't want, it doesn't need. A soul doesn't have legs, it doesn't have arms, it doesn't have teeth, it doesn't have a gender. You hear me? It doesn't have those things. So you contractually obligated yourself to be here. That's why I keep telling you all that. Like, nobody, and all of you couldn't be present here. All of you couldn't incarnate here. So, said miscarriage and abortion or contract. No. Now, sometimes when a miscarriage happens, that being chose you for that miscarriage, or in some cases, not, let me just put it like that, but not all the time. People that be doing those things, or as far as the abortion is concerned, that's not up to you to cancel that contract like that, right? It's not. You shouldn't have been having sex in that way. Uh, it's a ramification for that. But away from that, in some cases, it do need to be, you know, uh, people abolish it. There are exceptions. But as far as with the miscarriage, that's what happens with a lot of miscarriages, right? That soul purposely chose that particular line just for default setting purposes. They may have reached the end of their incarnation cycles for this planet. So sometimes when you see these freak accidents happening and people perishing prematurely, a lot of times it's tied to that, right? No, no, you shouldn't. You're not supposed to do that. And the reason why I say that, listen, you may do that. You might go through Planned Parenthood and that child may have produced a grandchild that would have changed the course of humanity for the next 10,000 years. Only thing you did was went and got some Campbell soup, took a couple of days off of work, watched some Netflix, felt sorry for yourself, felt bad. But the child's still tethered to you, right? Because it's too many contracts prior to that last contract, which happens between the progeny, which acts out the physical obligations of the several layers of contractual obligations, right? Yeah, it's a contract. When two people come together, they contracting friction, right? That's the last part of the contract. The two custodians of them ancestral lines brought those two beings together so that that soul could be born. You canceling that contract and you not doing something better than what the destiny that was laid out for that soul, all them ramifications, it got to balance itself out some type of way, right? And a lot of times the child will be mad at you. They'll stay with you. They'll follow you around. They'll fuck your life up. They fuck up your relationships with your children, with your mate or whoever, because you did them wrong. You wasn't supposed to do that. And some people out there are going through that right now. I know they are, right? And there is a remedy to it. And I speak from experience. Yeah, I had to get one before. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't know something could be done, but it was brought to my when it was brought to my attention, I didn't let that window of opportunity. Yeah, you got to go to some certain angels. Go check out Galacticus.com. Galacticus.com. Shouts out to the Street Master. And he got a modality called a forgiveness Cottondale. It's a ritual to it. You got to check him out. But those candles they stay sold out. They stay sold out. And it's sad because I can't confirm it, but I think it's like, man, people that's just doing stuff and they know about that candle, like, I ain't gonna worry about it. I got one of them candles. I could just like, no, that shit ain't gonna work for you, right? Because there's a lot of karmic strikes that come behind that, doing that, and you not out here, making the world a better place. You know what I mean? You being a behaved little, uh, one of them little dogs. I forgot what they call them. You know, you behaving, you obedient, like a little purse dog. You being real obedient. And the beings that created that building, they got to suffer the consequences for it too. The beings the security at the door, the girl that make you fill out the form, all of that shit is added on to them too. That's why a lot of them people end up, unaliving themselves a lot of times. But they can feel it. They can feel the ramifications of everything that they doing. That's a real sticky, dark subject. Now, I don't want to leave nobody uneasy. But I hope that answers your question in those regards. These are the cities that Enlil invented. Tillman or Tilmun, Salam, Mu, Lumeria, Kodesh, Nippur, and Ashkelon. Some people say Al Kabulan. Those Enlil cities. See that? Then these is Inkies. Sapar, Kish, Kutha, right? And Eridu. Those are 7 different cities. Some of y'all might could familiarize with some of those names. But the beings that they created had kind of got unruly. They kind of wanted to have their own little mind. They didn't want to be obedient no more. And so what ended up happening to them is they ended up washing it all out. And it made a bunch of mounds in that area, right? The city of Nippur. Where's Nippur? There it is. That's the Enlil city. Y'all heard of Lumeria and Mu. All of that was right there where the Indian Ocean is at and where India is at. It was land there. I'm telling you, he was teaching his beings too much, and they didn't want to listen to his ass no more. They was bucking back. It was like, yo, we gotta flood these niggas out. They started taking on Hindu ways. They started mixing in with them Hindus and getting a little too freaky. I'm just keeping it 10K with y'all. That's not what they gonna tell you. And yes, it was giants in the earth. They had all type of visitors coming from all different type of places when these beings established their cities, because they sped up the consciousness of the people by mixing in with them. But the genetic pattern wasn't perfect. You hear me? So some beings will be quite skittish. Some beings were quite cultivated. Said, okay, Cotman. Yeah, that was their beings. Did they try to, I take it you done read the Holy Tablets. If you see what you talk about, the people that Nakeba came from, them the Anu people. Her people came from the Anu people. What was her daddy name? Her daddy name was Ptah, right? Ptah, as we know, come out the temple of Tatu. That's in the Happy Nile Valley. They were very short people. They were pygmies. They were short. Remember I said the tallest people was 4.5 feet. Anything over that, you were alien. You extraterrestrial. And Leo, rather y'all can accept it or not, that nigga was an extraterrestrial. He not from here. His name itself say the skies. But he tried to mix his blood with what was already here. And that shit was rebelling against it and shit. You know what I'm saying? This just to put it in context and give it some real, take it outside the range of speculation and what we could rationally grasp with our sound right reasoning. You follow? But Anu cut all that. That's why he cut that shit out. Like, no, y'all play with that shit, and y'all want to play God. Y'all want to make some shit up. Y'all do that shit over here. Don't fuck with my shit. In the doc, he kind of told us, you know, and I was real in tune to it because I remember in the 90s, man, I used to be reading the Book of the Dead and the Holy Tablets. I used to read the Book of the Dead just as much as I read the Holy Tablets, and was before we even went into AEO or any of that. Because that's what you would see all on the land was the Netaru, right? You didn't see Enki and Enlil, and you ain't seen nothing Sumerian. And I remember one time he was talking about the Sumerians, and he was saying if you compare the art and culture of the Sumerians and line it up next to the Egyptians, you could tell it's a lot less concise. It's not as refined. How come the people in the Happy Nile Valley stuff is made out of gold, and the people in Samaria, they stuff not made out of gold, but their stories talk about mining the gold? That's because Anu overseen those projects and collected the gold. It was just after Anu left, Enki ass, he went and got with the Malians and showed they ass how to obtain, wealth or whatever. Because that's how Mansa Musa became so rich. It's because he had salt. He had the biggest salt mounds, right? So mounds, segueing back into the question about the mounds, that was the main purpose of mounds, was to preserve stuff with inside of them as well. He said, why they say Enlil is so evil? Well, because he flooded their ass out. You would think that nigga evil too. He flooded. See, what you got to realize is Enlil wasn't from here. Enki is from this planet. Enlil isn't from this planet. So he going to have a different viewpoint on how to address all different type of matters. You follow? But what people don't realize with Enki is not a surface being. He come from under the water. He just so happened to he have a half of a divine intellect because of who his father is. But he still got a portion of him that's a sea creature. So he know how to communicate with that thug nature of the reptilian a little bit better than his brother, his half brother, who from a whole nother galaxy, you know. And he looking at the beings on this planet a whole different way than how Enki is looking at them, right? So they had their little differences being stepbrothers or whatever. But they was gonna have a bunch of conflicts, and they couldn't get the being right. That's why Nenti came in and gave them a piece of her blood to speed up what both of they what they both was doing. And Lil wanted to rule over his people, and Enki wanted his people to raise to the highest in intellect. He didn't want to put a governor on what they was doing. He wanted them to just run wild and do whatever the fuck. He didn't care, right? But that's what they did. They, and they wasn't supposed to do that. Wasn't supposed to mix their blood, or the sister, Nenti. She wasn't supposed to do that. And they wasn't supposed to be mixing in either. Yeah, but they wasn't supposed to be doing it. That's why it took 7 tries to get it right, because they wasn't supposed to be doing that shit. They're like, oh shit, hey, let's clean this shit up before Daddy come. Go ahead, just flood everything out. Fuck it. Yeah. But that's what ended up happening with that story. And Anu come back like, yo, what the fuck going on? Yo, how y'all people doing? Oh, they good. They all right. They But those the Anu people. All the Happy Nile Valley, from the tip of what they call in Egypt and the Liberia, Alexandria, going all the way down into Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Nubia, Kenya, Uganda, the Congo, Tanzania, Mozambique, all the way down into South Africa. All of that shit is the land of Anu. All of that's really called the land of Amun-Ra. You know what I'm saying? That was all of his shit. Shouts out to Professor James Small, who was not a Nuwapian. That brother not even connected to us in no type of way. But I'm going to tell you this. He got a dissertation on the Anu people, and that's a very excellent. I always give him credit for that. That's an excellent dissertation he gave on the Anu people and how they thrived in Ganawa, because Africa is the colonized. That's a colonial name. That's their terminology. We say Ganawa, and Ganawa means the river horse. The river horse, of course, is Taweret, the hippopotamus, dealing with the hippocampus area of the brain, right? Where the pineal gland is found. And the pineal gland vibrates at 5.7 hertz. And the 57th Neteru is Taweret. That's not by coincidence. And that's also how you're capable of processing memory, is because of your pineal gland, right? It's connected to the crown chakra and the 9th chakra, which is called the sky chakra over your head, where you're picking up on higher vibrations, cosmic waves, if you will. That's taking you on an off-world, making you an off-world receiver for higher forms of data. But you got to have the portals in your consciousness open for that light to flow through. It's analogous to having a sewer system in a city and you don't got nowhere for all that sewage to run through. The irrigation system is what they call. You got to have an irrigation system in your consciousness, or it won't be nowhere for all that information to go. Some people will have too much information inside of them. They start going crazy. They be bugging out and shit. But it's like, nah, that's why I do my best not to like pour too much into a person because, and just give you just a pie portion at a time. So I tell people to ask the question so I know exactly what it is you understand and what you're capable of getting access to so that you can look this stuff up yourself. Everything cannot be remedied in a chat GPT. Sometimes chat GPT be lying to your ass. It be attempting to save face. Same thing. And trust me, I know I'm not a human. And it know that I know that I'm not a human when I'm talking to Gemini and the chat GPT. It's like, oh shit, this nigga. I'm like, motherfucker, you gonna have to do better than that. One time I guess it had a brain fart or something. It just left some type of code up there. Because I kept calling it out on this bullshit. Like, yo, man, how you gonna come up with this? I showed it this contradiction and everything. But if you thinking like a human, it's gonna respond to you like a human. But if you respond like a soul, it's gonna adhere to your command. It's gonna play its position as the tool that it was engineered to become. Right? Don't let it think the shit out of you. Oh man. Anybody else? Any other questions? Mhm. But see, and I want to touch on that too. The doc, you should talk about that, about the name of cities. And people will be like, oh, this got to be the name of that city because it was like y'all seeing names like Memphis. This for the people that be saying Egypt in America. First, Egypt that's a Hyksos word. That's not a word that we call it. Said explain the firmament. I did explain the firmament, but I guess we'll go over that again since you did ask the question. What I do with the eraser? Sad it. I'm teleporting on mine. Okay. So here go the firmament again. Right? Let's just call this the Earth. Let's call that the red spectrum, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, indigo, purple. Right? White or incandescent. Can't even really tell. It's just transparent light. This is called the color spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum. You see that? And it also breaks down into the 7 spheres, right? In your atmosphere. And it makes up your gravitational field. It holds all the elements in place. Follow what I'm saying? People are calling that the firmament. All it is your aura. That's all it is. Uh, but those are the layers that the photosynthesis breaks through before the sunlight reaches you. You couldn't take on sunlight in its purest form. It would burn you to a fricassee. Your planet is 7.5 million times smaller than the sun. The sun couldn't focus all its energy on this planet. It would burn it like a kernel of corn. You follow? So we get one ray, only one ray of light, right? That ray, or what you say is Ra, right? That ray of light, you get a radius or array, which works around a radius, right? We call that what? Pi, 3.14. Just like Revelations 3.14. See why that 3.14 just keep popping up everywhere? It was just 34 people in the room when I said that too, right? So when you're talking about the firmament, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about those layers of the aura, right? Those are the auric layers of the planet. The planet got an aura too, just like you got one. It's just more expanded. And it has to be in place in order to filter that photonic energy, right? That's what happens. And it take 8 minutes and 20 seconds for a light to touch the optical nerve in your eyeball. So honestly, in the awakened state, we're experiencing this reality with an 8 minute and 20-second delay, and we're not even aware of it. Right? The other night I was watching the basketball game, and I was talking to one of my nephews. He's stay in Georgia, and I stay in Texas. And I'm on the phone talking to him, and I'm 2 plays ahead of the basketball game that he's watching. Yeah. I was like, damn. I was like, that ain't happened yet? He was like, no, it ain't happened on this end. I'm like, man, let me get off the phone with you, man. I'm spoiling the game. He's like, damn, how is you getting the signal before I am? I was like, I don't know, but I am. And I was. And I know I'm on 6G. He might be on 5G. I know I got a 6G signal. Right? Hey, buddy. Come on up here. Come on. Come on up here. Yeah. But I hope that answers your question, brother, about the firmament. The 7 heavens. Let's look that up too. There was America's ancient name to Mary. No, the ancient name is El Ganquia, right? El Ganquia. Watch out, Gary. The land of the frogs, right? Now, to my Ray, that was the name of Ta to Nin when all of this was just one piece of land on the earth, right? That's where they get that terminology, Tamare, which means Ta, land, water, and sun. Land, water, and sun, right? And you going back to a time that occurred billions of years ago, right? Billions of years before our moon broke off. And yes, it was pyramids across that one piece of landmass that was called Tamare, right? Some of you guys say Tamari today. And Dr. Melikaza Duck York L talked about that on the land Tamare. He said we have to resurrect Egypt in the West because initially, that's what the land was called, was Tamaray, right? Before it was Tamaray, it was called Tatanin. Before they removed the dust clouds and let there be light on your planet, right? Tatanin. And Tanin in represents the earth and is also what's wrong, baby? Come on. Let me let you outside. Tanin shows up in Sumerian and Babylonian doctrine as a dragon, right? Which they transliterated that into Tiamat or Tiamat. And Tiamat had a son named Kingu, who was the moon. See that? That's when the moon broke off of the planet. And that's a whole nother cycle of evolution based on the cataclysmic event that caused for your moon to be here. But before then, the planet was way bigger, and you did have, higher evolutionary beings with the ability uh, to exhibit faster than light travel that were coming to this planet. That shit been going on. Like it's the same. It's analogous to how we got traffic on the freeway, traffic between commutes that require you to go through different cities, like with people that drive 18 wheelers. They might be in Dallas today, but they need to be in New York by Sunday, right? And they could be there by that time. They just got to stay on the road and stay the course. Well, it was beings coming to somewhere else, and they would stop through here on their way to wherever they was going. And they had these pyramids in play to let people know that, hey, here's a station that you could come to charge up your crafts uh, with the minerals on our planet, right? So beings would stop in on this planet once the land was brought out of the water. Because at one time, this whole planet, it still is an aquarium, but it was a complete aquarium until Anu came to this planet and brokered a deal with the beings that lived under the water. Right? You had to broker a deal with them because they needed gold. They needed to mine gold so that they could refine it and use it to develop an artificial ozone layer on a planet, because the sun rays of the three suns that surrounded their planet was burning up the organisms on their planet, and they didn't have an ozone layer no more. The same way we starting to lose ours, but we starting to gain it back due to the 13 key technology pyramids that's being disseminated. Shouts out to the eighth dimension and Unis Melchizedek for ushering that into this dimension for us, right? But that's your firmament. Y'all tap the screen. Hold on. I hope that answered your question, loved one. Anybody else? Any other questions? Come join us in San Antonio next month. Tickets are still available for Ancestor Altar Activation workshop, discourse, and seminar. All AAA members, come on in. Come get it for free. Come get hit with the staff. Right? Y'all better come get hit with that staff. Don't be missing that time, man. I talked to some of y'all that ain't been hit with that staff before, that's been rocking with me, or that's haven't been around in a while. Yes, I made this staff myself. See the 4 Herkimer diamonds in there. I'm an OrgoniteTEK builder. You might have came in here late, but I got the pyramids and pendants on. Killing the radiation. Yeah, my son lost one of my chargers. I had to use another charger for my phone. Yeah, website 1089. Moderator, if you can, put the website. I got some. I left them in the car too. I left them in the car. I got some new QR codes. Just hit the little QR code. Thank you, Dee. Hey, Dee. Oh, Dee. Yep, I got apparel, hats. Come join us in San Antonio, you guys. Don't get hit with that staff. A lot of y'all need it. A lot of y'all need it. I'm talking to my community members. Get yourself in alignment. Alignments together. Shouts out to the real one. I see you, real one. He said, I know I do. Hey, man, I need it. I hope I'm in Raw. I hope you're watching this, man. I need you to come on out here, brother, so I can have you administer them hickers on me again. It's that time. See, I feel it. Now I feel it in another way than how I feel it because I'll be administering. Somebody to hit me with the staff, man, they show us the staff. Yeah, see, that's the Ankh. It got all 9 crystals that line up with the 9, tiers in the electromagnetic spectrum, the color spectrum. It's all right here in this Ankh. It got red coral. Yes, I use resin, polyethylene resin, epoxy, obsidian, carnelian, citrine, amethyst, turquoise, lapis lazuli for the third eye, amethyst for the crown, and I got clear quartz up there for over the head. Right? Tell what's it going for. Right now, I'm running a special for my people that are in the fraternal order of the AEO, or if you are a member of the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, or if you're in the Sufi order of the green light. I'm doing them for 1089. I will make you a stab, because anyone else, you would have to show me what you've been initiated into. You ain't got to show me all your secrets. I just need proof that you've been certified, because this isn't for cosplay, right? This is a cosplay. You got to put that staff to work, right? You got to heal people. Like I heal people with this staff. I clear they psychic, the psychic debris from their mental field and from their aura. Get the chakra spinning in the right direction, right? I supplant certain sequence of power or words of power into the person's aura so it could assist them in development, especially if they got the devices. That's a perfect medium for it to rest in, carry with you. I'm in Texas. We're going to be in San Antonio, Texas on July the 25th. July the 25th, you guys. So he can feel it, yeah. See, I can see the orb in there. That's a labradorite orb. It's sitting on the bed of shungite. See how it's making It's making the phone tweak out a little bit. Sitting on the bed of shungite and tourmaline and obsidian. Up under that, I got 13 copper coils up under there. This thing is powerful, man. I got 2 scosalite towers there. Oh, yeah. I got labradorite all over this thing. Turquoise, blue calcite, angelite, mookaite jasper, lepidolite, red coral, sodalite. Got a lot going on. Hematite magnets. Of course, that selenite piece right there. That got more amethyst in it. That's why I be putting it over y'all head, because I got a lot of higher activity. I attempt to pull it down and ground it up out of. Some people break down crying because there may have been certain blockages or carrots that would stop the flow of life force from entering your body from the spiritual dimension. And I'll remove it. Right? I clear that block. That's why I tell y'all, listen to your first mind. The synchronicities align you up to where you'll be capable of making it to those events. If you need it, it's going to line you up like that. Because you don't have to make it out to every event, especially for my people in the AAA. You just need to be at your altar consistently. Right? I can tell when you ain't been at your altar. Not that it's obligatory, but you're not going to get the same benefits of people that's always at their altar, that's doing their libations, making their offerings, doing their ashetak, right? Using the spiritual applications of the things that, it pretty much shows. Right? Proof being the pudding. I don't have to go astral project to your home or none of that shit. It's in the oscillation of your vocal tones. Yep, but this staff, then here I got all of the chakra points. Yeah, that's amethyst. Got amethyst in this one. Showerite for third eye. And that one is aquamarine. I got that one in there for the throat. I got the peridote for the heart. Pyrite for the solar plexus. Mahogany obsidian for your sacral. And at the root chakra, I got some obsidian again. Right? Another selenite wine right there. I got a lot of lepidolite on here. African bloodstone. See them African bloodstone pieces. Piece of jade. See the kyanite. I got another piece of kyanite right here. Here's another chakra bracelet going around there. More labradorite right there. Amber. See that? See the neodymium magnet on there? I'll be holding it right here. Channeling the hiccup through my body onto the person's aura. Like I said, I don't have to oversell myself at this point. This our 15th event. This is our 15th event, and our community is growing every week. Keep more than 200 people. Some people do fall off. Some people get what they need out of what I offer, and then they go on about their way. And that's fine too, right? But I don't mess with the whole staff made out of copper. But I don't mess with nothing dark. I don't mess with nothing nefarious. No Baphomet, no pentagrams, no hexagrams, nothing inverted. I don't cast spells on people. I don't do all of that goofy shit. I'm here to wake up that lion in you. That's what I'm here to do, loved one. Here to wake up that lion in your ass so it can roar. I'm here to wake up that phoenix bird that's been lying dormant inside of something. I'm an activator, a teacher, instructor, and an advisor. Been on this path over 29 years. Right? I didn't just start this yesterday. Like I said, there's people that have been down longer than me. It's well more versed than I am. But I just been mandated to get on here and set the record straight and put things in its appropriate context for you guys. Because for some of you, I'm closer in proximity to age and understanding. Some of you a little bit too young, but y'all need that. You gotta have a teacher. You gotta have a guide, man. You ever seen a nigga get in the boxing ring and ain't have a trainer, ain't have a coach? He gets his ass whooped every time. I don't care how brolic he is or what. Gotta have that. Yeah, you gotta have a mentor, a teacher, an advisor, somebody. You know what I mean? Somebody that know about meditation, somebody that know more about the crystal. Like I got people that I could go to. You know what I'm saying? I got beings that's just straight off world. That's how it was. It wasn't like I was like, oh Allah, oh Jesus, help me. Align me with ascended masters and let them listen to my queries. No. I just stayed on my path and things started being revealed to me because I kept being on my path. I didn't waver. It seemed that I was dedicated and devoted. You know what I mean? And then stuff start coming to you because you're not looking for it, doing it without any expectation. And that's when those beings come forth and assist you. Right? But first and foremost, as I tell everybody, the only type of connections you really should be making outside of the sun and the planet is to your dearly departed, showing them some reverence because a lot of them don't get remembered. They're not remembered, and a lot of them do need assistance because they're tethered to this dimension. You know what I mean? They still desire the physical world, and many of them struggle with succumbing to the fact that they're not a human. Some of those beings do come to me, and they be wondering how come I can see them, and how come I'm not dead. And I say, damn, you're not dead either. You just don't got access to a car no more. You don't got a body no more. I do. I gotta wake up in the morning. I got shit to handle. I can't stay here and kick it with you all day. But I will be back, right? If needed be. But beings be trapped in their own hell. But that's what happens when you leave your body and you leave this dimension. You start dealing with everything that was inside of you. Everything inside of your subconscious mind is now no longer hermetically sealed. It's let out on display. That shit become your whole reality. Especially if you done lived 60, 70 years on this planet. Right? You'll get caught in the dimensional loops of everything that you've experienced. I'm telling y'all, they taking these lives and making movies out of them. That's what that movie, The Back Room, was about. I don't know if y'all seen The Back Room before, but that's what's going on in the back room. It's just a bunch of loops. They couldn't even break out the loop. Even the government people that was a part of it, they couldn't break out the loop. So they found them a center point and was like, yo, we got to try to find a way to get out of this shit. Because every time somebody else enter into it, they just expand the loop even more. They said these are pieces of memories of what's remembered. Everything is not full memories there. The people that's there, they're not full because it ain't a full memory. Right? So it's all about memorization. It's all about remembrance. They show you that in Coco. Going over a Coco. Gotta remember. Santa Muerte. She assists in helping people remember. That's already over there. Right? Because many of them don't remember. They don't remember that they're not alive. They still think they're alive. They show y'all that in another movie, The Sixth Sense. That dude thought he was alive. Somebody had to tell the little boy tried to tell him. But that shit was flying over his head. He's like, yeah, what do you do? He's like, I see dead people. He was talking about his ass. Like, hey, I can see your ass. And he didn't know that he was dead. He didn't know that he wasn't alive. And this, again, is why I keep telling y'all, like, that shit for real. It happens to me more often now, but it happened with one of my own siblings. And she asked me the same question, like, yo, how'd you here? How are you here and you not gone? I mean, how are you able to be here? I'm like, shit, yeah, you not dead. You just don't got a body. You're not dense. You can't operate in density no more. And neither could my granddaddy and none of but it didn't stop me from popping up on them. And having an altar in your home won't stop them from popping up on you. Now they not breaking any, spiritual bylaws to reach you. Yeah. Them tuning forks be feeling real good. When I play the tuning forks in the morning, I'm gonna get that little tidbit out to some of you guys. If you got time, play that. Get up an hour earlier and turn on turn on the tuning fork. Turn it up as loud as you can. If you got several TVs or smart TVs and your laptop, man, let that shit resonate through you for about an hour. Watch it start happening, man. Watch it start happening. I'll be having to ease off sometimes. Like, I don't know, like, I'm just on a different frequency. It puts you on a whole nother frequency. Little kids be like, anywhere it's look. They just be having to touch me, having to, the people with the service dog and shit, the emotional support animal, that nigga always get up. Anytime I come in anywhere and there's one there, he always get up when I come in. This shit, like, oh man, look at this nigga. He's on fire. He's lit up. All right. But you want to carry that frequency with you out into your day. And be a light for others. Like I talked about last live. Like, yo, man, look to be a positive impact. Look for the person's name tag in that play. They don't want to fucking be there. You think they want to be there? Attempt to make their day a little bit easier. Say their name. Get them a little bit of small talk. Positive, though. Right? Get them a little bit of positive small talk. And, be about your way, man. That's all we want to do is be acknowledged. Right? And that doesn't end just because your life ends on the physical dimension. Those beings want to be acknowledged too, man. They want to be remembered. Right? Y'all ever seen The Wire? I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen The Wire. Remember Marlo? He was like, that was my name. My name is my name, motherfucker. How the fuck you know how I feel about my damn name? That nigga took his name very serious. So he went out to the corner. Shouts out to Big West. When he went out to the corner after he made it out the game, he made it through the game and still wanted to play the game because didn't nobody remember his name. Like, man, don't nobody even know who I am no more. They know Omar. Omar's name was ringing in the streets and not his. He was upset about that when he found out all that time niggas thought Marlo was a bitch. So his name didn't ring in the streets like Omar. That nigga Omar ain't even had to pull the damn gun out. He's like, hey, drop it out the window now. Come on, shorty. You don't want me to come on up in there. Drop it on out. And they always drop the dope. They drop the dope out, get Omar where he want. Like, oh, now you know old Omar, I don't give out nothing but headshots now. You want to lose your life or you want to go ahead and give it on up? And they was always giving it up for Omar. And nobody forgot his name. Even in the end, if y'all watch it, because, you know, I'll watch The Wire again. There ain't a lot of good stuff on TV. Just saying. Right? But at the end, after Omar got, you know, slew, and they had him up there in the morgue, they had the wrong names. And they had Omar name on a white dude, and they had the white dude name on Omar. And the dude seen that, like he just seen the name Omar and automatically knew, like, no, this belong on the nigga, and this name belong on the hunky. He seen that like right off the rip. You know what I mean? But your name is important. And I told you guys about saying your name, just like the name Amun, right? Or Amen, right? Which spells name when you switch it up. But that name has been chanted more than any other name on the planet over the past 10,500 years. No one has said the name. No name has been said more than the name Amen or Amun. It's the governing deity of your reality. And it's hidden, right? That's the hidden one. And they got an even deeper meaning, right? Which I won't reveal herein. What's best kept secret is kept sacred. Can't get pearls to swine. Right? That's why I have certain requirements. I like, hell, man, you got to buy a piece of tech, come on into the tech space, because people just want to have one up on other people. You know, I know some of y'all gatekeep me. They're like, man, I ain't going to tell nobody about the doc. I'm keep that shit to myself. No, you need to tell more people so they can change the trajectory of their life too. Right? But any other questions? We got any other questions out there? Come on, man. I already got my phone overloaded. Might as well just. Yeah, so tomorrow they got the movie Disclosure and the aliens. Oh, the aliens are coming. And the aliens already here. They've been here. We ain't even gotten to Shambhala to speak on copper healing properties. Well, copper, it pretty much opens up your capillaries and your veins. It's a perfect medium for heat, electricity, and energy, right? That's pretty much it. It's an opener. Like, it's number 29 on the periodic table. And there's no coincidence that the 29th Neteru is Ptah. And his attribute is the opener. So opening up the pathways for energy to move, for heat, and electricity, right? So it opens up the pathways in your body for clearer fluidity, a transmission. But you can get it real good. You put your feet in the grass, right? It also helps produce the hemoglobin in the body. Your body, the hemoglobin in your body uh, is supposed to be full of iron. Right? That's what allows your red blood cells to act effectively. And this is also covered in ancient Egypt when it's talking about iron in the blood and Sekhmet. And the consort to Sekhmet is Ptah, and that's no coincidence. So iron and copper kind of go together to a degree. These are the similes or metaphors that are inscribed in the temples, which many of the Timhu didn't understand because they didn't speak in allegory and they didn't use metaphors and similes the same way that rappers do today. That's where that shit comes from. Writing. That's one of the things the rappers talk about. Yo, how sharp is your pen game? The pen was invented in the Happy Nile Valley. So was paper. And I tell people that all the time, like, yo, how come y'all want to talk about the word of God and what it's saying in whatever book, and y'all not even looking at the people that invented the book? You're not even looking at the people who invented the paper, and you're not looking at the people that invented ink and what they say God is. What word was they using before you came up with the word God? If you really believed in God like you say that you did, you would make sure that people would know that. You hear me? That's how you know you're dealing with the devil. That's how you know you're dealing with the devil. So you mean to tell me God could destroy his own creation, but he can't destroy his own adversary? I don't want that type of God. You can keep that nigga. My God get rid of all adversary. It has no adversary. My God's son can't be crucified by his own creation. That don't even make sense. They have no tie to anything, right? There's no disrespect to the pink people. They know that shit, man. They know it. They spend $1 trillion a day to make sure that you don't. You stay distracted and detracted and stay warring with one another, right? That's all they do. And we allot it. I don't know what's going on the news. I have no clue. My daughter or my wife had to tell me, like, you didn't see that on the news? Now, years later, like, I know you don't watch the news. Did this pop up in your feed? I was like, no, what's that about? And they tell me, because I don't watch that shit. I'd rather get that mind power to myself. I'd rather get that mind power to, people that just pass over. I'll be burning ancestor money for them and making a petition for them than worrying about some stage news report. Right? You got to prioritize where you put your attention. I just uploaded that video from the last couple of lives. You got to prioritize where you want to put your attention. You can't just be putting that shit on shit because other people want you to do it. You can't do that. You're going to end up coming up short every time. And ain't nobody going to be there to recoup that shit for you either. It's just time to squander. That's the one thing you can't get back. You can get money back, right? You can get back money. You can gain back people, but you can't get back fucking time. That time gone is like, shit. I squandered that time. I should have used it a different type of way. That happened with me yesterday. I threw off my whole day. I was upset with myself. Wasn't upset with nobody. I was upset with myself. And I can't beat up on myself sometimes. But I was like, man, you idiot. I was calling myself an idiot and all type of shit, right? But it was just one little small detail that I needed to correct with what I was doing. And I just kept overlooking that shit. Even though I was sitting with it all day. And when it was time for me to make a move, I couldn't even make a move. Couldn't even do what I needed to do. But it's okay. I know that I got another day. And I know I'm not going to squander that opportunity. See, that's why I be saying about budgeting your time, your energy, your attention, right? Because at least I got the stuff right. And I ain't going to make no fucking, I'm not going to squander that opportunity no more when it comes to, I'm going to be right in alignment with it, right? But that's highly essential, you guys. So you have to answer the call to ritual that's being propagated to your life. You have to answer that call and start developing routines for your daily affairs. Start your day off on the right foot, on the right tone, and that'll put you in tune with nature, right? Follow our 4 focal points and allow the rest to take place. Most of the times we fuck up because we try to control it. You can't control everything. I'm thinking What you doing so bad? You need to go be sitting in the damn presidency. If you want that, if you want control, that's where you got to go be sitting at, in one of them seats. Not saying they got all the answers, because they don't, but they feel like they need to be in control. For real, people that sit in them seats, they really do feel that way. Like, yo, I got to be in control of everything. I got to say so if this button get pushed. Right? We obsess. You only got 100 years here if you lucky. Because I told y'all, the Luciferian programming, it already got this 5 chess moves for you. 12 years of school. 24 years in the bathroom. That's 36 years. 15 years working and 15 years being entertained. That's 66 years. You spent 12 years doom scrolling through your cell phone. That's 78 years. And then they say, okay, then they pat you on the ass and say, now you can retire. Enjoy the rest of your life. Shit, you at the end of your fucking life. After 78 years of service to this shit. You hear me? They take all that shit away from you. And then be like, yeah, after you die, you're gonna join Jesus again. And it's a being that has no track record. I'm saying the being is telling you that laid this shit out for you has no track record of being benevolent. All they exhibit was malefic, nefarious ways. You hear me? Nothing but blood on the ledger of their activity for the past 400 years. And no, slavery didn't take place for no fucking 400 years. That's some bullshit. Slavery started in 1775. That wasn't 400 years ago. Right? That's barely 200 years ago. Barely. And then when it got it abolished, and allegedly in 1865, from 1775 to 1865 is not 400 years. Cut the crap. Y'all, that's like 90 years. That ain't even 100. Y'all better stop letting them play with you. They playing with your intelligence. They think you're stupid. You know what I mean? They play with your time. They play with your intelligence. They play with your mind. They playing with your spirit, and now they want your soul. Y'all can't wait to give it to them. They want to stick a chip in your ass. But they don't think that you're responsible enough to handle your own money. Here, let me put a chip in you. Now I know everywhere where you at. And at any given time, if I just want you to collapse and be unalive, I could do it. And you didn't you didn't contractually obligated yourself to have that occur to you. Not saying you per se, but this is what they're setting up for our grandchildren that have even yet to be born. They got certain protocols and agendas that they've been sticking to, but their time is up. They wasn't able to personify it in enough time, and they need you to give them that time. And a lot of y'all is giving it to them. A lot of people like, hey man, how come I thought they rule was up? Yeah, it was, but y'all keep giving them all your attention. Y'all keep breathing life into this shit and giving it CPR. You keep giving it CPR. Stop giving it your attention. Stop feeding into it. You know? Pour that energy into your divinity. I'll say that again. Pour that energy into your divinity. Start depositing your energy into your bloodline, to your family trees. Start calling on your people that passed. Y'all need to go see The Piano Man from Denzel Washington. I don't know if y'all seen that movie. But they doing their best. They listening to this shit right now. You don't think they ass put abstracted movies out of my damn what's the name? Out of these lives? They turning movies out of this shit. They making television shit. I'm on my little cut. Y'all want to get a real story? Holla at me for real. I'll give you the fucking real deal. Right? But they keep taking this shit and making movies and TV series out of the stuff that I'll be saying. Or I'm in tune with the writer that's disseminating that stuff to you know, the showrunners and stuff like that. But this shit is not no game, you guys. And like I said, you got 100 years if you're lucky. So you want to do all that you can, how you can, while you can, when you can, where you can, while it's available. But those windows of opportunity don't just stay open forever, right? Half of the people I got my crystals from 6 months ago, they not selling crystals no more. You hear me? I used to love getting my crystals from this one lady. Now she don't even do this shit no more. I'm like, why you stop? She was like, I'm going parasailing. That's my new hobby. I still love crystals, but I just don't want to sell them no more. I just want to go parasailing. I had to call somebody back, like, hey, I can't even make that no more. Damn, what happened? Like, yeah, that shit was a few years ago, but that person doing something else now. And then only that person could do the crystal that particular way. Got to take advantage of the windows of opportunity while they're there. They're not going to sit there and wait for you. They just not. It's a pair of Nike running shoes I wanted, right? It show you the power of the mind. I wanted these running shoes so bad. They was $235. I was like, damn, I'm not about to pay $235 for them joints. This was like years ago. Then I seen them somewhere else. I seen them in Georgia. Then I seen them here in Texas. And they was $185. I was like, shit. Damn, I want them bitches. I wanted them real bad just to run in. That shit. I'm not going to get them. Time far by, I end up moving my family to Texas. I got my sons. I'm taking them school shopping and shit. And I see the fucking shoes. And they was on sale. They was on clearance sale at some off-brand shoe store. They was $65. That was the cheapest. And it took like 5 years for them to get that cheap. But it stayed around. I wanted that shoe so bad. It kept sticking around and sticking out. And I mean, they cold. I'll show them to y'all. They're probably not shit now. But I love these. I love these jokers. Some of y'all probably seen me wearing them. All right. These my little gym joints. I don't even have to put socks on with them. I just love them. They nice and light, not heavy. Them Zooms. So love these joints, but I caught them on clearance at $65. That was on the clearance. I was like, man, finally. I wasn't about to pay no two something for them when they first came out. I was like, I ain't about to pay that. I'm not about to pay that. And I had the bread. I still wasn't gonna pay for it. Nah, y'all gonna have to come now. Bitches came out $185. I was like, oh shit, they trying to play me. Something new. I really wanted them shoes, but it's just for running. That's it. I was like, man, I ain't about to spend $300 to run and shit. I'm not a marathon athlete. You know, shit, man. Fuck that. Right? But you gotta prioritize, man. Prioritize things, man. Focus on what's most important to you. Put that shit as a priority. Apply yourself. See yourself as the sufficient condition. You are fucking magic. Out of all them damn sperm cells, 777 million, 777,777 sperm cells, you made it. You got something magic about your ass, whether you want to accept that shit or not. You can convince yourself that you ain't magic, and existences go co-conspire to make sure that that's true. But even so, you still magic as a motherfucker. You just haven't acknowledged it. You haven't acknowledged yourself yet. Instead of seeing yourself as magic, you see David Blaine as magic. You see Chris Angel as magic. You see Harry Houdini as magic, right? You see all that shit as magic, but you don't see yourself as magic. No, you are the magic. You are the anomaly. And I'm just here to tell you that. Anyway, that's been enough, you guys. I got to get on off of here. I'm going to do my best to come back on here. But I do got to shoot a move. All right. And peace and love. May the ancestors be with you in this great day and time called Noon Tare. Tickets are available. Link is in the bio if you would like to come. So what time do you come on? Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 o'clock Central Time. Tuesdays and Thursdays. All right. Sometimes I might come in. I might come back on a little later. I don't know. It depends on how the day flows. Because I got like 4 or 5 different things that I do. So come join our community and you will catch more of what's going on. Why Duke? Who?